Hey, John, what happened down in Allen Park today? Fill us in on what went on.
Yeah, this week with the kind of abbreviated schedule now because of the Lions participating in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Typically, we get the assistant coaches at the end of OTAs. Well, this week we talked to the offensive coaches, the complete seven-member staff on Tuesday, and today we talked to the defense. So we got a chance to talk to the defensive backs coach, the new D-line coach, outside linebackers coach, Calvin Shepard. So we got a chance to kind of dig deep a little bit on the defense, and a little bit of drama may be percolating with Alex Anzalone. If you just check out his social media, it's real interesting. He is on the final year of his contract. Look, he's not going to be somebody that's going to cause a huge distraction, but Braylon knows when you look at the business side of sports, how much you love a player is evidenced by when they're on their final year of their deal, you scratch them a check for a raise. And I think Alex is due for one. So we have at Lions on SI an opinion piece from Christian Boer, a great writer. The opinion is, I think that Alex Anzalone's earned a new contract.
Yes.
And for him to sit around right now not having it, I'm sure that's probably weighing in on his mind, especially for all the work that he did and how the defense changed when he was not there last year.
Hey, I saw a sad face on his Twitter the other day. I thought it was because of the Christmas Day game. Am I wrong?
No, that is why. That's also
okay.
When you look at the schedule for me and all the writers and you guys having to pay attention to the Lions on Christmas, I was enjoying the opportunity to watch other football on Christmas.
Yes.
But now we got to work. No, he's heartbroken because he's got to work on Christmas.
Yes, that's what I thought. Bragg, all of you, buddy.
Yeah, no, 100%. Now, you look at Alex Anzalone, you look what he's been to this Detroit Lions team. You know, at one point, we were like, he's a stopgap linebacker. He can't go laterally. He's not good at covering tight ends in the flats. But you watch what he's built over the last 3 years, man, and he's been that rock. He's been that catalyst for that defense. I mean, just look at what happened when he came back last year. You know, he came back and played like reckless abandonment. So, to your point, he has earned a contract. He has earned an extension, and they've shown you with the Detroit Lions, if you do what we need, if you support us, we'll support you. So I think that they'll do something for him. Question about the schedule. When you saw it, first thing jumped into your mind, Doc?
Yeah, like we said first, Thanksgiving and Christmas is a little tough, but the wife got her revenge. She took a little bit of cash from the bank, and she's pretty happy now. She was not happy at first, but she knows her ways now, being married 15 years. She's like, all right, any emotional trauma that I caused with this addiction to sports and podcasting and covering the team, she's like, all right, price went up. So I'm like, I'm hurting today, but it's all good, man. I looked at the schedule outside of the personal nature of working on holidays, which I love. Clearly, I'm a big fan of sports and doing this, but I love the open. I think that having divisional matchups will get this team focused right away. Packers-Bears right away gets this team focused to get after it. And I think when I saw the schedule, I got a chance, like everybody else, kind of peek a little bit early at the schedule. I said 5-2 at the bye week. I think that the Bengals might be the team that is a hang-up early on, but I think the Lions have an opportunity for a good start. Now, the tough stretch that I see is right after the bye. You go Minnesota, Commanders, Eagles. That's a tough stretch after a week off. That will dictate the tone of the team. And then the one thing that I pay attention to, like many, is the end of the year. You go on the road against the division, the Vikings on Christmas, and then the Bears. So if there's tight games, you in the past had them at Ford Field, which benefited you in 2024. This year, it's on the road. But to let you guys know, I'm favorable. I like the schedule, the way it shakes out. I got them with 11 wins. My way too early game-by-game prediction, 11-6. Stand firm with the over 10.5. But I don't see those, Ryan, that would go out and say 13-4. Yeah. That's a little bit too disrespectful to the opponents and to the fact that this team has to go out on the road quite a bit. Yes, they're a good road team, but you're not facing the crumb bums of the league. You're facing some pretty upper echelon quarterbacks.
15 wins last year. I'm sorry, Bray.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Didn't mean to go ahead. You go.
No. You're absolutely correct. The one thing in that I like what you said, but the one thing that we talked about at the beginning of the show is you look at those first 6 games, you talk about a defensive line that has some hang-ups, some hiccups, people coming back from injury, et cetera. You got to play Lamar Jackson. You got to play Joe Burrow. You got to play Patrick Mahomes, who I know his defense.
Wow.
I know his offensive line is not good right now, so that may benefit us. But and then Jordan Love, for whatever you want to say about Jordan Love, I mean, he will be better this year than he was last year. I just look at the quarterbacks, I look at the offenses, and I look at the defensive line that we were told is going to be good. That's where I'm at with it. What do you think?
Yeah, no, look. When you look at this Lions football team, I expect the confidence level to be very high offensively. I think they return a ton of talent. John Morton told us that he's like, why would I change up a good thing? This team can score. You're going to put the ball in the hands of Jahmyr Gibbs, who's expected to have a breakout year. Definitely everybody that's listening, go make sure you have him on your fantasy team, even number 1 or number 2. He's going to put up a lot of yards. Points in PPR leagues, he's going to dominate. I think he's going to get a lot of opportunities to put up offensive numbers. And then the offensive staff typically has been receptive and positive about Jameson Williams, but they raved about him on Tuesday, saying that he's come in with a great attitude. They feel like he's going to have a breakout year. If JMO takes and levels up again to where maybe he's at over 110, 115 receptions, over 1,200 yards, and over double-digit touchdowns, now you're looking at an offense that's just almost unstoppable with the sheer level of talent that you have, especially with the quarterback in his prime. So offensively, I think that they're going to be worth the price of admission. The question marks are going to come clearly on defense. Is the decision to keep Marcus Davenport the right one? Do the likes of Ennis Rakestraw and Terrion Arnold make the second-year jump? If they do, then the competition level, if the Lions defense continues to level up, that plays and travels, that gives you an opportunity to go up against the AFC North. A division, Braylon, that you're familiar with.
I know all about that division. That was a black and blue division when I played for. You talk about having to go play the Steelers and they have to play the Ravens. Ugh. Anyway, quick deviation. You talked about Amon-Ra. You talked about Jameson Williams. Will he have more yards this season than Amon-Ra St. Brown?
Oh, that's a good question. I do think that there's opportunities there. From when I had the chance to go to the Combine and sit with John Morton, he had a great opportunity to speak with the media in an intimate setting. He said, look, I definitely want to involve the explosiveness of the offense. I want to take advantage of the weapons that you got. And if the connection continues to grow with Jared Goff, you see chunk plays, there's more of an opportunity. And that's the running joke a little bit between the players on the inside there. A lot of the players rib Amon-Ra St. Brown that he's the 5-yard out guy. And I do think Amon-Ra wants to showcase that he can be involved in a little bit more of the intermediate passing game, get a little bit more targets down the field. But if Jameson Williams, when you see him now probably getting a lot more primary targets and primary reads, if you're John Morton, you definitely want to draw up some routes for JMO. I think it'll be very close. But in the end, Amon-Ra taking a step forward. And his competitiveness, once he sees JMO on his tail, probably is going to be somebody that's going to definitely demand the rock.
Hey, John, right back to the schedule again. 5 1 o'clock games, my favorite. I love the 1 o'clocks. 5 4:30 games, and the rest of primetime games. And they moved the Thanksgiving Day game, the former 12:30. It's been 12:30 my entire life. 63 years, it's been 12:30. They moved it to 1. So then they could do 1, 4:30, and 8:30 like they do every Sunday. What do you think of the times of the games? And, of course, they can get flexed as well.
Well, Tom, you know, as I hear that you're a man about town, partying all the time, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving is the biggest bar night of the year. So for us partiers, I think we get the extra half hour to sleep in. I think outside of the opportunity there, we get to party and booze it up a little bit more. Start the game at 1. I don't care. I think that's actually not bad. 12:30 to 1. Let us sleep in a little bit longer before we have to go and do work. Look, the NFL is always tinkering. I know tradition, but that time frame, I get it. People are definitely used to it, but it gives people more time to set up, drive to their family, and have opportunities for Thanksgiving. I'm not too upset with that. I am a little bit, personally frustrated that they're playing on Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Of
but
course.
Listen, nobody wants to hear me complain. That's a great job. I look at it too. The schedule lays out in a way that, there's opportunities that the Lions have that are beneficial. I spoke on the Lone Wolves podcast that I do for SI, and I said, look, they don't play a team at all this year coming off of a bye. So other opponents are not going to have a lot of opportunity to prep outside of the normal week. So
that's good.
The Lions schedule presents itself to kind of, in a way where there's going to be ample rest. That week 8 bye is amazing, better than what it's been in the past. And I look at this schedule and I say, there's opportunities for this football team to benefit because you play on Thanksgiving, and then the following week you get the normal week of preparation, and then you play Dallas at home. So that stretch there, playing, I call that in my game-by-game predictions, a nice stretch there where you play on Thanksgiving, you play the Giants, and then you play the Dallas Cowboys. That's a nice little stretch there where you can get some momentum as you face a tougher part of the schedule.
We were looking at the schedule, and when we saw the both holiday games, we asked the question, and I'm going to ask you the question, as a guy that follows the Lions and has to cover them. Would you have rather played on Christmas, or would you have rather gone to Europe? Because that's why they're playing on 2 holidays. They have not traveled since the Atlanta Falcon game years and years ago.
Tom, I'm going to need you to listen. My wife just took a bunch of cash from the bank account to make herself happy. You think I want to pay another $6-7 grand to go overseas? Look, I'm dreading it. I got friends that are German. They're like, you're going to Germany. And also personally, too, you guys know I'm open. I am deathly afraid of planes. Listen, I'm a psychologist, and I teach people to get on planes. But I'm a strong-willed, tough individual, but I just have a hang-up on planes. My stomach hurts. I hate it. It prevents me from, just because I think about it nonstop, I do got to pop some pills to kind of get on the plane because I am traveling to Dallas. I want to see the upper echelon stadiums. I was at Jerry's World. I have to do it, so I have to get over it. Do you think my ass wants to sit on a plane for 7, 8, 9 hours in this climate with airplanes? You know, the first time I'm going overseas, you're going to hear, this plane is sitting on the tarmac for 48 hours, and John Macaroon is getting escorted off because he's bitching because he's not happy. So I don't want that to happen.
Merry Christmas.
Stay in the holidays, stay with my 2 feet on the ground. Oh, thank you, guys. Thank you for that. That's
Merry
cute.
Christmas.
Very cute. I won't forget that.
There you go. Anthony's all yours.
Hey, Doc, I'm looking at the chat here, and they were kind of split on Anzalone. I think he's a fan favorite, much like Jamal Williams was. A lot of people are going to want him back. I personally don't think that we will see him extended. He'd be 32 next year. I'm looking at the roster, and we literally, out of 91 players on our preseason roster, as it sits today, only 9 of them are 30 or older. I would imagine, obviously, Goff is going to remain, and we've got a couple more years out of Decker and Glasgow. But you look at Skipper, O'Connor, Patrick, Reeder, Khalif. These guys probably aren't on the team next year. And I've been trying to reach Lions fans and show them what this regime has done year after year, and they keep repeating it. The guys that come in on scheduled interviews for the draft, it's probably who we're taking. We're not giving up massive assets to go and get one guy. These guys draft well. They know it. They develop players well. They know it. I love Anzalone. I love him, the find that he's turned into be for us, but is this another case of Lions fans getting too attached to our players and not understanding the system that has brought success here to the Lions that Dan and Brad have put into place, which would preclude us from re-signing him after the season?
Yeah, no, listen, I respect that side of the opinion, okay? But also, too, we do have to look at what the Lions are saying. They say, hey, we want to draft and develop, and we want to reward our own. And it's hard-pressed to look at Alex Anzalone and what he's done. The proof's in the numbers. He went out, and all the defensive numbers were skewed. They all went up. More yards, more points. And I do think that he's earned. And look, you look at it and you say sometimes there are players that you have as glue guys, leader guys, that are in the locker room that bring a little bit more to the room than maybe their production. And here's the situation in which I would see it. Look, he's underpaid. He signed a contract that's paying him $6 million a year. I don't think it would be devastating when you have the cap that goes up $25 to $35 million a year to sprinkle in a 2-year deal worth $18 million. And you can have it where the first year he gets maybe $10 million to kind of reward him for the work that he did, for all the things that he weathered in terms of turnover and working with young guys and seeing the team draft Jack Campbell and diminishing his role a little bit. I look at it and I say, I do think that they will reward him, but I don't think it'll be a massive contract. It might even just go from $6 to maybe $8 million. But when you're Alex Anzalone and you see the value of your contract go up, you see the value of others getting contracts a little bit more, and you see what your worth is, he's worth more than what he's getting paid. So I would be surprised if training camp starts and he doesn't get a new contract. He's a glue guy, and also too, he's a Dan Campbell guy. And if Alex marches, he comes to town, he marches into Dan Campbell's office and is like, hey, I just want a new deal with some more guaranteed money. Hey, take care of me. I'd be hard pressed for that whole lot. And here's the thing too, his defensive coordinator was his former position coach. So he's going to get the full lobby. And when you're lobbying for more money or a contract, to have the support of your position coach, to have the support of your defensive coordinator, and then probably to have the support of the head coach, man, that'd be a little bit ruthless in my mind if Brad Holmes made that decision.
I understand that. I mean, I just think that there's so many guys that have been here that people love that we've said goodbye to. These guys are shrewd, and it is tough to say goodbye to a Jamal Williams, but then you get a better running back in his place. I look at the way this team is built and the way they're building, and they don't like old guys.
Doc, let me say something real quick. I think the difference with Alex Anzalone, and this is where I have the dilemma. When he first got here, when this 2021 thing started, like, I didn't like Alex Anzalone. I didn't think he was a good linebacker. I said it time after time. You can ask Maz. I said, I don't like this guy. You love baby Thor. Didn't like him. But what I saw him build from 21, 22, 23, 24, I saw him become a catalyst for this defense. I saw him take over defense and be a driving force for a defense that actually was statistically sound the last 2 seasons.
The leader, really.
100%. And so for me now, on the opposite side, now I'm supporting him. I just think there's something you can do without breaking the bank. I understand, but don't compare him to Jamal Williams, because Jamal Williams didn't help usher in a new identity here. He just ran the ball from the 1-yard line. I think Alex Anzalone kind of showed the Lions. Tigers are good too. They showed the Lions what it was.
Jamal Williams was like a talk guy.
Right.
He was a media guy. You go to him to get a funny thing. Him and his what was his things that he used to love?
Pokemon and Pikachu.
Pokemon and all of that kind of
anime.
Yeah, anime. He was that kind of guy. Hey, speaking of other guys for a minute, Cincinnati. Mm-hmm. You've seen the video of Trey Hendrickson. He's not signing back with the Bengals. So yesterday I brought it up. We played the whole video. He's very upset, and he is airing his laundry now. He says, look, when you push me, that's the end of it. He said, I'm a Floridian. There are unprovoked shark attacks, and there are shark attacks. He feels that Zach Taylor attacked him by texting him 30 days before camp saying, you're going to get fined if you're not here. He says he's not playing unless he gets a new deal. So he's going to be out there, Doc. He's signing somewhere. And the worst thing that could happen is if Chicago, Minnesota, Green Bay, Philadelphia, or Washington signs this guy. Do you think there's a 1% chance that the Lions are even thinking of this guy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's you're trying to get me in trouble here with the chat and the internet world, huh?
Let's go.
I'll say this. No, listen. Realistically, I don't see it happening. I want it. I've championed that. You need as many good players as possible. I truly believe the salary cap can be maneuvered in a way that can make the deal happen. I just look at it from the perspective of the Lions at that position feel like, okay, we're going to pay Aiden Hutchinson and we're going to try it with Marcus Davenport. That's what they believe. They believe that they can get value from a younger player that they feel is very similar in regards to what they expect. So they don't want to pay, and it's very tough to see. You don't typically see 2 defensive linemen making that much money. When you do have to pay Alex Anzalone and Jack Campbell and Sam Laporta and Jahmyr Gibbs, you have many more bills to pay in regards to it. And I do think that, look, if he ends up in the division, you say this: the Lions have built an offensive line that will make him irrelevant. That's the hope. I think that with the Tate Ratledge of the world, with Miles Frazier and Christian Mahogany, you're counting on your offensive line to neutralize one of the game's great, one of the great defensive ends. So that's the risk you take. I'm all for it. I'm all for Myles Garrett, Max Crosby. I'm all for good players. We saw it. Fans should clamor for it. But when Brad Holmes directly says it, man, we got Bills, we got Aiden Hutchinson, we got other guys, then you got to look at it. And now you got to also look too. You just signed Cooper Jr. You want to draft and develop younger guys. I don't think the Lions are going to be in the market for a guy that's going to break the bank, be over 30 years old. unless you can do it for 1 year and you get, some kind of connection because of Hendrickson and Alex Anzalone and Dan Campbell, if the contract's not, going to hang it up, you make the move. But I do not see him. I think there's a 0% chance he ends up with the Lions. But I love the fact that people still want the defensive end and it's a compliment. And that's what I said to Brad when I introed that question at the Combine. I was the first to open that subject. My question was, I know it's tough to hear. I said to him, fans believe you are one guy away because you've built a good team. Safety's good, linebackers good, defensive line's decent, offensive line's good, your offense is chock full. Many people believe you're one guy away, and that guy is a defensive end. And he still is saying, well, I want 3, 4, 5 good defensive ends. Well, I should have been more bold and direct and say, look, we want a superstar next to Aiden. We don't want a guy in Marcus Davenport that we're all scared by week 2 is going to be a guy that's out. And today I asked directly Calvin Shepard, I asked him, why do you trust Marcus Davenport? They say he's putting in the work. He's got the mindset. They're telling him directly the mission for him is to stay healthy, but nobody trusts it right now.
No. And can you blame us? And last question, this one's for Anson. He is a Caleb Williams hater. He calls him the catfish. I defend the kid. I thought he had a pretty damn good year last year. I think he's only going to get better. Are you a believer or a disbeliever in Caleb Williams?
Yeah, so everybody listening in the chat, internet world, I want to pull up here and kind of start with the premise and pay respects to an individual. F the Bears. I think
Amen, baby.
that they got going on with Ben Johnson, I love the hate. I love people calling him Benedict Johnson. I'm literally, when you look at it in my position, we're sitting there at Lions Media at Allen Park. I'm looking forward, prepping for this interview with you guys, one of my favorites in town. And you see a story comes out where Caleb Williams did everything possible to get out of going to the Bears because they were an embarrassment. He knew that Matt Eberflus was going to be an embarrassment, was going to embarrass the city of Chicago, couldn't run a clock if his life depended on it, and he tried everything. His dad was like, the Bears are a place where quarterbacks go to die. So for the Bears, look, that's an old story, relatively speaking, because now it's a new era, and Ben Johnson's job is to change the culture. So look, I was with Ben Johnson for the last several years. He's got that gritty mentality. He's got that kind of attitude of like, I want to bury Dan Campbell into the ground. He's a hardworking individual. If he can connect with the players, guys, he resurrected Jared Goff. So I give credit where credit's due that Ben Johnson's going to do a good job, but not as good as the Detroit Lions. They're always going to be second fiddle to the Lions and Brad Holmes. I don't think Ryan Poles is in the class of the Lions general manager terms of being shrewd and getting guys that are going to fit the culture. Ben Johnson will be good. Caleb Williams will be a serviceable quarterback. But in the end, I do think there's limitations to his game in regards to playing the position that might prevent him from getting to where he needs to be. And by the way, if you didn't hear me the first time, F the Bears. Lions are going to win. They're going to dominate both games by over 20 each time.
You heard
That's for Andy Isaac.
F the Bears. Doc, last question I'm asking, this is a quick one. What do you make of the NFL schedule? Like in terms of, is it too much with all the streaming and all the dates and the back-to-back and cutting into this? Is it too much or is it just time for football?
Yeah, look, Braylon, I'll always be honest with you. This job pays my bills. It's an amazing opportunity that a guy like me who started a podcast from the basement to see how the NFL operates. They're masterful marketers. They understand how to draw every single dollar humanly possible. Braylon, the Detroit Lions raised ticket prices, and I'll put it into context. I was a season ticket holder. For all of you who say I'm too negative or I'm too direct or I don't have the idea to sit there in the camera and say they're going to win 14 games, I'm a little bit more pessimistic. I was a season ticket holder, and I paid $35 a ticket. My season ticket in 2002 was $300. That same ticket today is about $3,000. So think about that. My friend I have no problem paying it. But my friend couldn't do it. He's like, John, I'm still up and coming as a director, and I'm still learning and working my way up. We had to stop after about 5 years. But, Braylon, they got 20,000 people willing to take on that much money in regards to ticket prices. I expect the Lions fans to travel all over the world. The NFL to me has rewarded my family. Covering the NFL has been rewarding. I get to, live a dream for all broadcasting on the internet and covering the team with a major